Good afternoon, everyone. Hope things are well. Not the sort of way you would ever want to start a YouTube video, but let's be real. There are much bigger things in life than Newcastle United, and there are much bigger things in life than football. Saying this morning about Diogo Jota and Andrea Silva, it's truly tragic. It doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what I do, we can't change what's happening. These are two young lads that have worked their asses off for the entire lives. They're very successful individuals for being such a young age. They've done the things they wanted to do. Just like that, one freak car accident that is nobody's fault and it's all over. And when you see something like that, it hits you. It's something where you almost kind of question life and go, well, what's next for all of us? And it's just been a real depressing, crappy day. And I'm sure all of you feel the same way as well. So I wanted to, of course, at the start of this video to remind everyone and to make sure walking away from this, we all feel a bit better because, oh, you guys watching, when you are feeling a bit down or when you are alone, you haven't got anyone to talk to, feel free to contact me and make sure you do that and make sure that you're feeling all right because yeah, it is a horrific story and it gets worse every time you look into it. But it's easy to forget now, and it doesn't matter what I say because it's not going to make this any less tragic. But try and remember the good times we've had because for being such young lads, they've been able to achieve so much and they've left behind such a legacy where, look at the good times that they had because they would never ever imagine doing those sort of things when they were a lot younger. And I would always say, make sure in life you do the things you want to do now because you never guarantee that tomorrow. So make sure when you are done watching this video, get out there and make sure you live life to your full potential and do the things that you wanted to do on a personal level because that's what the enjoyment is. You want to go out there and just do everything that you want to do. And finally, of course, speaking on the topic of Liverpool, our first home game of the season is against Liverpool. So I'm sure Newcastle, I'm sure we ourselves can show the respect to Liverpool and at least put on a nice display for them and do what's right. Truly horrific. There's just nothing I could say and there's nothing I can do that can just change how bad that is. But let's remember them. Let's keep the legacy going. And as much as I don't want to say it in life, we also have to move on as well. And just like any other video, we're here today to talk about Newcastle United. So we're going to move on to that now, and we're going to talk about Newcastle United's transfers and what's next for us. So again, obvious point we'll say at the end of the video, but there are much bigger things than this. Now, onto the topic of Newcastle. It's been reported by Mark Douglas that we have a budget between 150 to 175 million pounds without needing to sell any players. So now that it's the start of July, 3 days into July, our PSR year has reset. Newcastle has no restrictions at the minute. We can go out there, buy the players that we want to buy. And I know you guys watching this video now will feel perhaps a bit on edge, feel maybe a bit worried about what we could do. And especially over the past couple of summer transfer windows, we haven't exactly gave ourselves the best reputation. But a reminder now, we don't have the restrictions that we had last summer. We don't have the transfer restrictions that we did a couple of years back. We have got our sales done now, so Newcastle can go out there and we will go out there, buy some players. We talk about what players we're going to go out there and buy. We'll talk about what players are going to remain at the club because Callum Wilson and John Ruddy's contracts have both expired. So they were reported by Newcastle themselves to be stated that they are still looking into potentially giving the pair of them brand new contracts. Nothing's been said about either of them, which I'm a bit surprised about Callum Wilson because he is a certified club legend. He's scored a lot of important goals for Newcastle. In my opinion, deserves the respect of at least getting a post from Newcastle, getting a tribute video, or getting something mentioned from the club. And Newcastle has still remained silent on it, and there's been nothing said from Newcastle, which gives me the indication that perhaps we still aren't done with Callum Wilson just yet. Like some Mark Douglas claim that Newcastle are still going to let Callum Wilson go and we aren't going to offer him a new contract at any sort. I'm not convinced by that though because Newcastle still has not said a single thing about him. And in our point of view, from our media team, Wilson has to have a tribute of some sort. You got to say well done to him. You got to say something towards the guy. So the fact we haven't done that yet, I still think this one's not over. So keep an eye on it. John Ruddy's a different story. Easy to keep on. Has a minimal contract. Not much money in it. The fact that Newcastle has done nothing to him gives me an indication he's probably off. But Callum Wilson, keep an eye on Callum Wilson because nothing's been said about him, and I'm surprised by that because surely he's a player that's going to get at least a tribute video from the day he leaves Newcastle, and nothing has still been put out from the club. As for incoming players, of course, James Trafford is the most linked name to Newcastle, and it's been stated that the transfer saga could still go into next week. At the start of next week, could be when the resolution is completed. Now, this is a deal that's been, it's talking an entire year in the making. It's been reported for over 12 months now. Newcastle want Trafford. We've offered £27 million in this window. Burnley have rejected that. They want in the region of £35 million, and this is a player who has already agreed personal terms to join Newcastle. So, from the player's point of view, he wants to move and wants to head to Newcastle. So, for us, just about finding the balance of how much we want to pay Burnley. They want 35. Newcastle doesn't want to pay 35, hence why we haven't completed the deal yet. I'm fully expecting this deal to go through. Haven't got any panic about it. Haven't got any worry about it. And while you guys watching this video might be a bit frustrated, I might be feeling like we need to do more and get this deal done quicker. I haven't got that feeling. There's no rush to get it done. I think Newcastle will get it done. They're trying to cut an extra couple £1 million out of Burnley. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then so be it. But no issues with this one. I think we will get it done. It's just a bit of a waiting game. We've waited over a year already, so I can understand the frustration now. Elanga, a player that's not as close to joining Newcastle, but still got a lot of leg room this one, and still saying that looks positive for Newcastle. We had a second bid at around £50 million rejected. Forest won around the £60 million region, and despite the rejected bids, Newcastle still has not walked away from Nottingham Forest. Still speaking to the representatives, still looking to bring Elanga in. And when you go on social media, a transfer that's almost been stirred up by Ursula and Elanga themselves, because if you go on social media, those two have spent the past couple of days together. You can see they respond to fan comments, they're talking about stuff in social media. And even Elanga himself, you go on his Instagram page, picture of Ursula, and the caption at the top that he's put on himself, if you know, you know. And it almost comes across as a bit of a tease towards Newcastle and a bit of a tease towards fans. And while that may come across as a bit of a stretch towards some of you watching this video, I'm still fairly confident with this one. Elanga wants to join a club, according to journalists out there, and it seems to be a signing where we aren't far off in the valuation, but the thing that is knocking back this signing is the Manchester United 20% sell-on clause. The fact that they want 20% of what Elanga is sought for means that Nottingham Forest has drummed up the transfer fee, so Newcastle will overpay to bring Elanga in no matter what we do, because an additional 20% is basically the Man U tax. Because Manchester United has the 20% clause with Elanga, so Forest has to sell him for more money, which makes this saga awkward because Forest are not going to sell him. He's one of their most important players, so they're just going to sell him for a stupid amount of money. Newcastle either overpays in the player to bring him in, or they go outside the Premier League most likely and bring someone else in. And Elanga, the fact that Newcastle has not walked away yet and will still seem to be fairly active with this deal, suggests to me that Newcastle will still try again. They will still attempt to bring the player in. And I reckon this one's realistic. I think we can pull Elanga off. Whether you guys want him or you don't want him for that price, I think Newcastle is prepared to do it. I think Newcastle will get close to doing it. And while we aren't far off already, I think Newcastle might squeeze even closer. So we'll keep an eye on this one, because I think Elanga still is a sign that looks fairly likely for Newcastle, but not as close as maybe suggesting social media. Still quite a gap in the valuation, but a gap that certainly seems to be plausible at least. And finally, in Mark Douglas's report, he stated that Newcastle is looking at a defender and also a João Pedro replacement that has not been linked on social media, so a name that has not been linked to Newcastle United so far. They give you an example, one that has been linked. A guy like Xabi Simons, for example, has been linked to potentially join Newcastle as that number 10/attacking option. But Mark Douglas is claiming there are options out there that Newcastle is looking at that have not been stated on social media. So I'm intrigued to see and to hear who these options potentially could be, because I'm trying to think of a number 10 or an attacking option that Newcastle realistically could bring him in this window, and someone that's going to fit into Eddie Howe's sort of team. I'm intrigued to hear your guys' suggestions as well, because I'm someone, I haven't had a massive look into it, but I've had a little look into it, and I'm not sure who that could be at the minute. So I'm intrigued to hear what you guys think. I'm intrigued to hear as well your opinion in the transfer window. I got a feeling most of the supporters are going to be negative about it, but I'm still not at that stage. I don't think it's that panic stage. You got to remember, our transfer window was effectively started at the start of July, and it's only been a couple of days in. I know it's a bit slow, and I know when you look at Eddie Howe's quotes at the back end of last season, and guys want us to bring players in. I don't think it's a panic mode though. I think it's been a couple of days. Yeah, it might be a bit slower than what you want it to be, but Newcastle are going to complete deals no matter what. We are going to bring players in this window. We are going to sign players. It's just a bit of a waiting game. We'll wait, but we'll get it done, and that's the reality. Newcastle are going to get these signings done. So for you guys, a strong and harsh reminder at the start of the video, but of course there are much bigger things in life than worrying about what transfers you're going to get and worrying what's going to happen next in Newcastle. Be happy that we are back in the Champions League. Stay healthy, stay well, and make sure you are happy and healthy to be able to watch this next season, to be able to make the most out of it, and to be able to see Newcastle back in the Champions League and back playing in the biggest competitions out there. It's a massive achievement for us to get, and I can't wait to see what we can do next season back in the Champions League. So walk away from this video, get outside, do the things you want to do, and just enjoy life, because one day you'll not have that chance. And again, I don't want to keep reminding you about that, but make sure in the time that you do have, just go out there and live life to its full potential, so you can be happy and you can enjoy what life has to offer. But yeah, I'm not here to lecture you on what you can and can't do, by the way, but I feel like everything that's been going on in the footballing world is a bit of a depressing time for us all. Just a reminder that are things to enjoy, and make sure that you go out and do those things. But take care anyway. Let me know your opinions down below. Sorry if the video was a bit all over the place, but yeah, it's been a hard one to record. It's not something I'm used so comfortable enough talking about, but hopefully I've at least said the right things and done the right things in this video. But take care. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you all in the next one.